All right, you guys, happy Friday. Welcome to the end of the week. Get excited because the rapper, The Game, has dropped his song entitled
Day two of why Candace Owens is a evil human being.
The Assassination of Candace Owens, and the lyrics are, in fact, fantastic because even the hip hop world is asking questions and
It's about time.
noticing that Turning Point is not acting right. It's because you guys are just not acting right.
Yeah,
Well, guess
guys, you're just not acting right, you know? Just act right.
what? Something interesting has taken place this morning. TPUSA confirmed that the debate request and the sit down request to respond to all of our very many questions actually came from Erica Kirk. They said that request was directed by Erica Kirk, and I find that to be compelling. And
Compelling. Yet another word like necessary, you should never be able to use again.
they also explained why it has to be in person, and I am curious.
Curious. Another word she should never be allowed to use ever again. You know why it needs to be in person? So you can't rage quit and claim technical difficulties when you're proven to be an evil human being trying to make money off of Charlie Kirk's death and destroy the organization that he built. That's why. That's why it needs to be in person, face to face.
To play that clip for you to see if you believe and accept their explanation, their reason why. Also, I have probably looked at more footage from September 10th than any human being in the government or otherwise, anybody on this planet.
Who does that except for someone who finds glee and joy in death? She's not doing it because she's truly curious or interested. She's doing it because hell has no fury like a woman's scorn, and she wasn't the black vagina that got picked by Charlie Kirk. She was the black vagina that was picked by the conservative establishment because for some stupid ass reason they believe that we needed to pick a black vagina who could spout the right talking points and do it in a sort of way. But no, we didn't need that. Nope.
And I happened to take note of something that I find to be quite strange. And I want to toss it to you guys because the public is more perceptive and capable than our FBI. So let's jump right into this. Welcome back to Candace.
Uh,
Okay, we're going to do something different and actually begin today's episode with
Are you not going to be retarded and an evil human? That would be so awesome. Nope. No, you're going to do exactly that.
comments from yesterday's episode because they are extremely relevant and they're also hilarious to what we are about to discuss. People who watch the show are obviously savages,
Retarded.
absolute savages. And obviously yesterday we were discussing how they rescinded the offer because it had to be in person. Look at this comment, top comment. TPUSA takes them 3 months to respond. Also, TPUSA, you have 24 hours to respond. Like, what? Seriously, why? Where did this 24-hour thing come from, and why was it necessary? The second comment, this
Wasn't it you who said name the time and place? I feel like you made yourself susceptible to this.
user writes, Tyler Robinson can appear in court by video conference, but Turning Point USA says Candace cannot attend their debate by similar means. Yeah,
So we're going to laugh at a tweet about the alleged assassin of this person who you allegedly cared about. Explain to me how you're not evil. Look,
Guys, we are starting
look at the
to notice
smile.
some things. It's weird. And
Weird. Another word. Let's see. Necessary, compelled, weird. I'm just writing these down. Dang, I typically keep a pin on me for that reason.
we announced, or it was announced today, that Charlie Kirk's show, which they are continuing, and which once upon a time enjoyed the #1 spot on Apple Podcasts, has now plummeted, right? This is a tweet. Breaking news: the Charlie Kirk show has crashed in the rankings.
Why would you take joy in this if you actually cared? If you ever actually cared, why? You know where the phrase, if you ever really loved me, comes from? Like, damn, only an evil human could do this kind of stuff.
Falling to number 94 on Apple Podcasts, even though it routinely held the top 10 spot in the past and even reached #1 when Kirk was alive. The reason for that is simple. It is clear. People are telling you how they feel, and they feel that you are not being honest. They feel that they are not getting the truth from the very people who keep trying to market themselves as his closest friends. And I'm saying marketing intentionally because it feels as though they have transformed into a badly run PR firm from the early 2000s, where you try to use celebrities to influence the public. You get, like, Britney Spears and Justin
Or the
Timberlake to wear your
game, or
denim, and
yay,
everybody just then starts
or
wearing denim, right? And I will add on to this that I certainly myself am compelled. I would say that it's an interesting twist in this debate story, if we're even calling it a debate offer. At least I was surprised. I was legitimately surprised to hear this morning that it was apparently Erica Kirk who called for TPUSA to formally respond to the mounting questions and to set the live stream. At least that's what Blake Neff is saying on the Charlie Kirk show. They received
I wish you just felt compelled to stop.
this morning phone calls from the viewers at home. And of course, somebody asked about the nature of how they went about trying to get me onto this live stream. Let's take a listen to that question being asked, I think from a woman named Gina. Let's take a listen.
Let's take Gina's question. Gina, welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. What's your question?
Hey, thanks, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My heart's broken with the things that are going on with Candace. And I'm trying to make it all come together. I'm sure I'm not your only fan that is trying to do that because of the relationship that she had with Charlie. And
Be honest. Anybody with a working brain should have seen this coming. I saw this coming when she first claimed to be leaving Black Lives Matter. She is a token for the conservatives, for weak people who don't want to just stand on merit and our ideas. We're not the racist. We don't need to have people who don't genuinely feel what are conservative values, but instead can spout the talking points in a way that reaches young people. We didn't need this. And because you guys trusted, now we're dealing with this. And it's going to cost us elections. I know most people are like, I don't even know about what's going on. But the people who make decisions and finance elections, they're paying attention. And this evil human being is going to cost us elections.
One thing that I'm just trying to make come together in my head is why the invitation was extended to Candace, but not to Candace directly. Blake, I think you tweeted something out, and I don't know if, you know, I don't know what's truth and what's not, but
Why does it matter, Gina? Why does it matter how the message was delivered? The message was delivered, and it was on Candace to accept. She said, name the time and place. They named a time and place, and she said, shoot, I'm going to clutch my pearls. That's what she's going to do. She's going to use her husband to clutch her pearls and say, I won't be pushed. I won't be bullied. I won't be. No one's bullying you. I thought you were the one that was against victim mentality. And here you are making the lives of a grieving widow and those closest to Charlie, making their lives miserable for the last 3 months after Charlie Kirk's death. And now you want to claim victim, victim, victim because they've called you out on your bullshit, because they tried to follow lawyers' advice, legal advice, and even journalism 101, which apparently you have a fucking degree in, but I think you just wasted 3 years plus whatever money you spent on a degree that you apparently know nothing about. Because journalism 101 says if something pops up, just say nothing. Just say nothing. And they tried. You just, you're evil. And so here we are today. And so they called you out, and now you're like, woe is me. Well, fuck you, you evil bitch. Sorry, wife. I know you don't like it when I swear.
I do know that she said she didn't even see the invitation, and it was issued, Blake, I think at 12 on a tweet that you had. But
Are you kidding me? You're telling me the second it dropped, there wasn't 1,000 people following Candace Owens going, hey, Candace, hey, Candace, hey, Candace. Stop it. Just stop it, you lying. Stop it. Just stop it.
or at midnight, 12, not noon, midnight. And so it was like 9 hours later before she even knew that you said anything about her attending the show. And then she's saying she can't attend in person. Can she attend on a live stream? Or, you know, and you guys do live streams all the time. And is that
With good faith people, with genuine, authentic people, not with demons, not with bad faith demons who need to be called out for the whole world to see. You need to crawl back to whatever Black Lives Matter bullshit you came from. Um, you should have just enjoyed your spot at the back of the bus. Look, I was there. You know, I didn't get to where I am overnight. I didn't get to be some token pond, some token pawn used by the establishment to virtue signal, just to use that opportunity to be a Trojan horse for bullshit to destroy the conservative movement from within. And yet it's it's the youth that you're corrupting. It's the youth of the conservative movement that you're dividing. The future leaders. This is how I know you don't care about anything or anyone but your motherfucking self. You evil human being.
going to be an
Of course,
option?
Gina.
I'm just trying to make this come together.
Of course, Gina. So, first of all, our initial statement, it was on the show on Wednesday. I made it at the request of Erica. All of this has been at the direction and approval of Erica because she heads this. And so what we were announcing there is we said she has said things that are not true, and we did not address them for a long time. We stated the reasons why, that we thought a lot of them were just not, how to put it?
Why? Look, this poor feller, you know, he's trying to be politically correct because he is trying to continue what Charlie Kirk started by being kind and graceful and merciful. But this evil human doesn't deserve it. Blake, what you should just say, because she's an artard and not worthy of being addressed. At least not this stuff. Go back to your Bridget McCron, Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds and defending the casting couch. You want to talk crap, Candace, about people who are having consensual sex with people who are above age and try to use that to discredit or demoralize or discourage these individuals. Meanwhile, you're there for Harvey. Come on now. Just stop it. Just stop it.
We initially just thought no one would believe a lot of what was being said, and we also just
You can hope, but there are a lot of artards in the world, man.
we remembered the same friendship that Charlie had, and we just hoped
See the smile?
that this would go away without requiring
The
any sort
evil
of
grin?
direct statement or
She
confrontation
can't
from
contain
us.
it.
So what was approved
She's
is we
forcing
announced we
herself
are
not to
going to
just laugh
respond to
like
this,
the
and what I
devil.
said was we are going to announce a date soon. We actually hadn't agreed on it at the time I read the statement. We're going to announce a date where we're going to respond to this, and once we announce it, Candace is free to attend in person. That is what we announced. And so once we agreed on a time, I announced what the time was going to be. Candace, for her part, had said, you name the time, you name the place. That is what we did. As for why it was put out at that time, I would just say I don't think she had any difficulty in finding out what our scheduled time was. It seems everyone found it out quite quickly. And lastly, on the point of why it's in person, I think it's pretty intuitive.
Again, he's going to try to be politically correct. And so she's going to pretend to not understand what he's saying, when in reality, he should just say, well, we want it in person so she can't rage quit when we call her out on her bullshit in front of the whole wide world, for her to be looked at, mocked, and ridiculed, as she very much well ought be.
That given what is being said, what the way this has worked is that it's critical to be in person if you want to be authentic and to be detailed. And that is what we think is a fair request to make if she's going to participate. But regardless, it is going to go forward because we have agreed that some response needs to be made. And so that's going to happen when we announced it on December 15th.
Yep, and
myself,
we actually got to hit it.
I'm one
Yeah,
person,
Gina.
but
Yeah,
And now she's going to pretend like they're running away. And you know what? Even if they were, who cares? Don't give credence to these demons. They don't deserve it.
Gina, I'm sorry, we got to hit a radio break here. We can keep going in the break if you want for if you have a follow up. We'll be right back. We're gonna take a break from radio. We'll be right back.
So I love situational irony like that, where he is actually live streaming with Andrew Colvett. He's like, it's not authentic unless it's a person is in person, and Andrew Colvett's literally not in person as he's answering this question. So I guess the show is not authentic.
They weren't debating. And They most definitely weren't spending the last 3 months accusing each other of the most heinous things a person could be accused of. Um, Not only are you accusing them of oversight or obvious oversight, you're accusing them of being directly. No, you don't get to do that. No, if you do that, you volunteered yourself to a in-person debate where you can make yourself just as vulnerable, and the whole world can see, who's right or wrong. But my money is on you being absolutely wrong. And here's what I'm genuinely curious about. What do you actually believe took place? Who killed Charlie Kirk and why? I want to hear you give your definitive what you believe. Rather than just asking questions, I want to know what you actually believe. I want you to say, I think Israel killed Charlie Kirk. I want you to say you think that individuals working for Turning Point USA, including possibly Charlie's wife, conspired with Israel, or were just woefully ignorant, but had to know that Israel was going to kill Charlie Kirk. I want you to say those words and then just stand by it rather than all of this vagueness, you evil human being.
Authentic or something. I also love Blake because he's trying so hard not to be condescending in that bit. It doesn't come naturally to him. He's extremely condescending.
I thought just yesterday she was saying how Blake was one of the good guys, insinuating that most of Turning Point was bad guys, but Blake, he was a genuine person. Apparently not. What a difference a day makes. How her viewers haven't just caught on to every day she spouts something completely new that discredits everything that she said the day before.
His obvious, how do I say this? We're shocked that you guys believe Candace. We're just very shocked, you dummies. And
It's a sad reality, Blake, but yeah, there are too many retards in the world. That is true. It's right for you to be shocked that people would take this person serious after the things that she has said, but unfortunately, way too many do. Not exactly what the founding fathers had in mind when they envisioned freedom of speech, but here we are. And so, unfortunately, this is our reality.
his excuse is that the reason he did this in the middle of the night on X is that it's to be expected, as if that's some sort of normal etiquette. Once you extend an offer, not only do you extend an offer, you say that it's a sincere offer.
Etiquette. Etiquette. You know who I'm going to take tips about etiquette from? You know who I'm going to go to? Not you.
He used the word sincere. And when she is trying to get around to, hey, like, why does this need to be in person? Just to be clear, Blake is saying the answer to that is, quote unquote, it's intuitive that it is critical to be in person if you want to be authentic.
It is obvious to all people that it's critical to make yourself as vulnerable as possible if you believe that your argument is the strongest. That's how a non artard interprets what is being said. Now let's hear what a retard hears and interprets when they hear this.
me just run that sentence again because I consider myself to be pretty intuitive. I am intuiting right now that that is absolute bullcrap. He says, quote, "It's intuitive that it is critical to be in person if you want to be authentic." Yeah, they think you're stupid. They just think you're absolutely an idiot. And he says that that's fair. What are you talking about? My most contentious and
Fair. You want to talk about fair? I think you've pretty much made absolutely everything fair game, unfortunately. I think you, with what you've done and are continuing to do, are making civil discourse. If you're going to pretend that what you've done over the last 3 months is civil discourse, then you've made absolutely everything fair game, minus physical violence, which I will never advocate for. But you've made yourself susceptible to any and all verbal arguments made against you, and you're deserving of them.
my most viral debates have never been in person. Everyone assumes that when you extend an invite, that you're going to do whatever you can to make it happen, whether it's friendly, whether it's not friendly. When you say, and when you come out and you say that you are live streaming, the assumption is that you are live streaming because you want the
If you were to assume anything other than we are planning a strategy to destroy you, then, well, you know what they say about assuming.
internet to be able to attend, right? That's the whole purpose and function of live streaming an event, is that it invites everybody to be able to attend. So when you extend an invitation of live streaming and you
Live streaming can be done anywhere. The fact that they gave you a specific location means that they meant for it to be in person. And a non-artard would have intuitively understood that. But you're ET with bad hair.
don't explicitly say it must be in person, why would I assume that you're going to rescind the offer if I say that I can appear via live stream? Okay. They never said that when they made the offer and they were pretending that they were being sincere. They never made in person a point of their demands. They never also said that I had to respond within 24 hours. That's a hostage situation. Okay. There's
Now you're a hostage too, huh? You're just like those poor Palestinians, aren't you, Candace? You're being genocided because they said, hey, can you show up in person?
no way that I could have accommodated all of that.
No
In a
way.
million years,
In a
24
million
hours to
years.
respond. How about, let me see if I can make that work. Even if
So no way in a million years could she have made that work. That's what she just said, right? Now, look, she's taking a break. But listen to what she says. The very next sentence.
I could have made it work, which I couldn't have, because my husband instantly said, no, you cannot do this Monday. And he runs the household and he has an important thing going on that day, which involves people that are coming in from overseas. But even if I could
That's all anybody heard. Anybody with a working brain? A thinking brain?
have made that work, I would not have within 24 hours have confirmed to
Excuses.
them if they had even sent me an email, because I have kids. I would have had organized things, and it would have just taken longer than 20.
So you're telling me that you don't have like a nanny? Just just stop. Just stop.
24 hours, and they knew that. What Blake did
You're not acting right. You're not acting right, Candace. You're not acting like a legitimate victim. You're acting like an evil human being. Stop it.
say verbatim on that day is, quote, here is what is going to happen. In the near future, there will be a live stream here in Phoenix. So
In Phoenix, giving a specific location. Let's speak very slowly. Candace, it's in Phoenix. Geographical location on Earth. Phone home for directions.
We're assuming they're live streaming from Phoenix, where we address in a clear and comprehensive way the claims and the accusations.
Someone needs to tell Spielberg this hair is not working. It's just not. It's just not.
False accusations that have been made against Charlie's family, friends, and the people here at Turning Point. We plan to walk through everything carefully and thoroughly. If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio in Phoenix.
In our studio. An even more precise geographical location.
Not a demand to be there in person, live streams happening at your studio, and you said that this was a sincere request, then you went about it in the opposite manner, which is why it makes it really interesting that he says in the beginning that that was done at the request, at the direction, and with the approval of Erica. And that's interesting for a lot of reasons.
I just wish she'd keep Erica's name out of her fucking mouth.
I think a lot of us have been wondering, like, did she take on this role and she's actually executing? Or are we still going through a transition phase? Is she still learning the part? How involved is she on a day-to-day basis? Because some of these actions seem like fumbles, like absolute fumbles.
So Erica, Kirk, here we are. 3 months after the death of her husband, the father of their children, taking on the CEO role of Turning Point USA, dealing with the stress of raising children alone, being alone, losing your spouse. I can't. And then on top of that, to deal with you and the fact that this country's full of artards, and to still, within 3 weeks after Charlie's death, make enough money to fund the organization for a year. I'd say she's doing okay. I'd say she's doing all right. I'd say Charlie's pretty damn proud of his wife. And that just makes you very, very, very unhappy. But that's because you're an evil human being. So, yeah, if making $80 million in the first 3 weeks after his death, dealing with you and the millions of idiots, and still adding chapters, gaining donations, yeah, I'd say she's doing just fine. She's doing far better than I think the vast majority of human beings would do, dealing with as much as she is. I mean, here you are, you're being asked to meet face to face in a debate where you're besmirching, discouraging, demoralizing, discrediting this institution that you allegedly cared about for so long and so much. Now she's willing to, and you get to be the victim? I don't fucking think so, you evil bitch.
And you're wondering, is Andrew Colvat running things? Is Tyler Boyer running things? Is this coming from Erica Kirk? Because I'm having trouble, I guess, comprehending why she would green
Just clip it. Just clip it, and it'll make everything make sense.
a light something that the internet has now read as incredibly insincere. Of course, it's insincere. You market yourself. You've
Another word, insincere.
as somebody that is passionate about family, and we can't even get 24 hours to see if we can make things work.
I think she's trying to insinuate that Erica Kirk is not sincere about family. There just has to be a lot of very lonely, pissed off women in this world watching you, vicariously living through you as the woman scorned, able to destroy everything that the person who rejected you built because of clicks. It's just sad. Sad and make you angry too.
And exchange things like that doesn't feel honest. That didn't come across as honest. And you're telling us, or we're assuming from that statement, that she approved the statement that went out referring to people as Antifa members, like making us akin to a basket of deplorables because we don't accept the Fed slop. Like that got her approval to go out. Like this was read by Erica. That doesn't feel good, And the reality is if you deeply care about the legacy of Turning Point USA, as you all claim that you do.
Really?
Like you claim that you're really just in this, Blake Neff and Andrew Kolvac, because we were his best friends and we love him, then how can you treat people who are genuinely people just like Gina, donors to Turning Point USA, people who got behind Turning Point USA?
Really making this argument? If you have, okay. Let's say one person says that they care about Turning Point USA, and then there's another person who says, no, I care about Turning Point USA. And the first person says, well, I just raised $80 million. I'm struggling with the loss of my husband, dealing with raising children alone, dealing with the role of CEO while losing the face and founder of our organization, and still managing to pick up donations and add chapters. And then you have another person and the other person says, well, you're, if not directly, indirectly responsible for the death of your husband, who was the founder of Turning Point USA. And by the way, all of these other people associated with Turning Point USA are also very, very bad, very, very bad people. Should not be trusted. You should ask for a refund. Who cares about Turning Point?
People who have photos of them going to Turning Point USA events, who probably have tickets to go to AmFest. How can you treat people with such contempt? How could you think they're dumb?
How could you treat people with such contempt? How do you get off just, oh, wait. You're evil.
Enough to believe that that was a sincere offer, that that's how it's supposed to work, if that's ever in the history ever of people setting up debates, that that's ever been how it's worked, that someone
The time and place. Candace Owens.
just arbitrarily picks a time and a place, and you
Arbitrary.
admit you had no time and you did not have a date picked. So there's no reason you couldn't come to me and say, here's 2 dates that could work. And
Why do we owe you any fucking thing? We don't. We don't. Get the fuck off the bus. We were going to give you the spot at the back. Wasn't good enough. You wanted to drive it. Well, now you drove it into the fucking ditch. Now we're kicking you the fuck off. Anybody with thinking brains? Not artards? Goodbye.
and allowed me to do that. And by the way, I would still like for you guys to do that. Okay. And one more thing that I want to put out there, because your 24-hour demand is ridiculous. It's silly. Okay. Let's strip it.
Another word, ridiculous.
Let's not pretend that I there's some buzzard that got hit. We can still make this work, and I would like to make this work, and I would especially like to make this work if you are saying or implying that Erica Kirk is going to be there. Because
I saw the numbers at Charlie Kirk's memorial. Everybody did. Hundreds of millions of people watched. And she knows. Candace versus Erica. She's looking at this like it's a pay-per-view event. Think of the utter audacity you have to think that way. The lack of any semblance of the slightest bit of being human, I think, would just make you go, nah, I'm not going to do that. And here we are. Here we are for clicks and ad revenue. Yep. Can you imagine? Like 9/11 happens, and the very next day, people are accusing the loved ones of people who lost their loved ones of being a part of some elaborate plot and scheme to kill their loved ones. That's what she's done for the last 3 months and is continuing to do so and will do so until she's on to the next.
the reality is,
You're a retard.
that would be a game changer. I think that's a game changer. I think it would be very powerful to have her there, to represent the viewpoints in a way that they're maybe not being shared by Blake Neff, who is incredibly unlikable.
Who just yesterday you defined as a genuine person
And speaks down to people. And
not like the bad guys. In fact, you were, I mean, I could go back and play it. We could play what you just said just yesterday about Blake. And now, too many retards.
and I don't know why he does that. It's not coming across clearly from your spokesperson, Andrew Colvat, who seems to be on the road and isn't course
December
correcting any
15th,
attitudes that are coming
Phoenix,
out, or
Arizona.
at least telling people
In
not to be
studio.
like late night tweeting like Tyler Boyer. And yeah, it would be great if you are saying that on the 15th, Erica Kirk, as you are insinuating that she's going to be there, right? She's directing.
I get to come face to face with this. I get to try to make her bawl and cry and drag her through every moment leading up to her husband's tragic death and the moments and days after. Who would find joy in that? Oh, wait, I know somebody.
This thing? Are you implying here that she's going to actually be in the chair and she's willing to allow me to bring things and to go over timelines and stuff? Like, can you make that offer
Here's where Charlie said he loved me more.
through the proper channels? Can you actually say that, since you now have more details about how it's going to work, and reopen that offer again? There's no way in hell that George can make the 15th work. I just said it. No.
What about on Earth? I mean, I know, like, you know how things work in hell. We've discovered that. But what about here on Earth? Is there a way on Earth you can make that happen? Oh, wait, I think you're about to say you could, but you won't.
He shut it down immediately, and for a very valid reason. And it is not my inclination to go to Phoenix without having my team with me. And my husband is very much a part of my team. But I will say that I will raise it further with the Supreme Court of George Farmer. If you are insinuating, and actually if you can confirm that you are saying that you will allow me, as you said further in this, to bring whatever it is, because it would be more authentic if it was face to face. If you're saying that I don't have to deal with you and this is actually going to be very open and I can ask every question under the sun, I might beg,
I might beg my husband to let me go destroy this poor widow because, well, you know, evil gonna be evil.
beg. So I would love to hear from Turning Point USA and stop pretending 24 hours was some like demand that had to be met, because that's ridiculous. So ball very much back into your court. And like I said, I want to make this happen. I still think you guys can open it up for a live stream. Like you're doing that right now. That seems ridiculous as well. Let's make this work for the people. Anyways, you guys, diving back into our investigation.
All right. Well, I've heard about enough of the ET with bad hair. But just further proof that Candace Owens is the epitome of evil. And I just hope that people who are following her stop. Just stop. Anyway, this is Dylan Tedder from Flipping Tables with Christ. That's what happens when you change the name. It was Flipping Tables for Christ for 4 years. Now it's FTFC with Dylan Tedder. So this is Dylan Tedder with Flipping Tables for Christ. Take care. I love y'all and be blessed.